Hey, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. So last session, we were talking about a couple of commands. So we started with an editor, so which is VI editor. Also, you can use a VIM as well. That's okay, but VI is the base one. And so we have seen how do you open a file with VI, and it will just load the content. If the content is not there, it will try to create a new file. And how do you add some content? So it will help you even in copying from your Windows box to there as well. Okay, so you'll be able to do that. And after that, we had talked about SCD command. So how do you perform the general operations on your editor, right? So those operations we have seen from SCD editor. And after that, we went with the curl command. So after that, we went with the curl command to start browsing it and as well as to download the files, by the way. And after that, we use tar command to extract the files and unzip command to extract the zip files. And after that, we have seen a pipe concept. And then we moved on to AWS. So how do we create a server, right? So we created a server. Now, yesterday I terminated the machines and we are going to create it again. So like I mentioned, so here we are going to use North Virginia region. And so here is the AWS login page. You open it directly. It will take you to the North Virginia region here. Okay. So under that, so there are many services, by the way. So EC2 is one of the service on the top. You can search also EC2. Okay, you can search for EC2. And this is the EC2 thing. And you can go to the left side instances. And here is where you can launch an instance. So launching an instance. And the two options we are choosing at this point of time. One is going and searching for an image, which is DevOps-practice. If this is taking time, so we talked like the other option. I think it is taking little time, right? So slowly it was. It used to be fast, somehow it was messed up. Alternatively, so I had given you one more, which is a direct image URL. So you can directly open that. It will take you to the US East 1 region and as well as to the AMI place. You choose RHL9, launch instance from an AMI. Okay, so you don't want to change anything here. So the key pair, we don't need it. Okay, so I think some of you may be having a question, but probably you didn't ask. Okay, like at least if you have seen some other videos of Amazon and all, you would have seen so people asking you to create a key pair and so use that key pair and things like that, right? So yes, the key pair is the default option that Amazon provides. That doesn't mean that you have to go with that. Okay, so please take that catch, by the way. All right, so that's where in the enterprise organizations, we will not generally prefer to go with the key pairs because keys brings with its own risks also. Okay, because you lose a key ultimately, like, I mean, if it is a password and it is going to be a single sign-on password, you change one place, it's going to replicate everywhere. But key is not like that. Okay, key is a risk involved. So that's where, so keys has its own use case in certain areas, but for us to start with, we don't need keys. Okay, and why do we don't need to use keys? And also, so there are certain, I mean, certain video is recorded, by the way. So I'll show you that as well. I'll give you like maybe as offline video, so you can go with, I mean, whenever you have some time. Okay. And also we'll talk about how to create our own image. Right now we are actually making our image, and we'll also talk like how to make an image as well later. But at this point of time, so one small image I'm giving, so this image will not do something magic, by the way. So we just have a basic additional features just to make your life easy. So one is setting up the password. So you don't have to bother about running behind keys and all. End of the day, you're going to connect to a server using a, end of the day, you're going to connect to a server in companies, by the way, by using your username and password only. The keys and all is, maybe people are doing it, but it's a immature thing, by the way. So we'll not generally prefer to do that. So, or even the mature persons even wouldn't allow you to log into the system in the very first place. That is also there. Okay, I mean, allow you in the sense you yourself will, because you're an engineer of the system, let's say, and you yourself only will not be doing that work. Okay, so yeah, so that goes little onto the security context. But yeah, so we have some username and password, which is our username and password, and all the machines are integratable with the centralized login. We call it as single sign-on. Okay, so single sign-on is a concept that, now let's say you have Gmail, and your Gmail, using Gmail, you can log into many systems, right? You log into YouTube, you can log into Google Docs, you log into Google News. I mean, a single sign-on is actually working with many applications. So in the company also, there are a wide variety of systems, and all the systems, okay, it can be Linux systems, it can be Windows systems, it can be your leave application, it can be your insurance application, okay, it can be any of the business portal, okay, it does not matter. Your same username and password should work. That's the that's the enterprise scope generally. Okay, so there you'll enter your username and password to get onto the systems. And I already shown how do you connect, by the way. So like if you're using Windows and all, you may be using putty to connect. So yesterday there are screenshots here as well, you can proceed and do that, right? So hope everyone is clear before starting the today's topics. Anyone have any questions before proceeding?
Hi, Raghu.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the scripts where we have to follow to create the server on Amazon, you provided a password to log on to Potty. So
Mm.
if I use that password, it's gonna work. But how do I create my own password if I don't have to?
Later, later. Don't bother about it at this point of time.
Okay.
And also, generally, what I would suggest is when you have some questions came through which is not relevant to the current topic, I would always suggest everyone to start maintaining your query book, by the way, or query notepad or something. Try to maintain somewhere. Okay, you always try to review it, by the way. Okay, mostly by end of the training, so many of your questions will automatically get sorted. Okay, so if not sorted, also we'll still have the lab sessions. You can always come back, not an issue. We'll work on that. Okay, not a big deal. But yeah, so I'll always, anything beyond the topic, if you think about, it's a very good thing that you're thinking. So you always start writing the things generally over a period of time. So while going with different topics and all, those things will be uh, okay. Those things will be resolved. Okay. If not also, so we have lab sessions. Yeah. Any other questions before starting? Okay. All right. So let's get with the this again started. Let's talk about certain additional topics to the Linux basics we have learned. And from here, you can consider that a normal user may not be generally does this work, but however, an administrator may be doing it. Okay, that means administrator in the sense not a pure sysadmin, a person who is having admin access, you can call him as administrator also. Okay, in that context. Okay, fine. Now in Red Hat family, the first topic for today thing is basically is process management. How do you manage your process? Okay, in Windows you have something called as what task manager, right? So here I have something called as activity monitor in my Mac OS. It just tells me what all the process I'm running. Okay, it's still collecting the data. So what all the process I'm running, and how much CPU, how much memory it is consuming and all. And at any point of time I wanted to stop something, so I'll click maybe here. I don't know whether it allows me. I don't know. I never use this, but yeah. So task manager, you can just right click and end process, something that you will do, right? So that operation. here also, okay, here I had to go for opening it and quit it. Okay, fine. So the same thing, you have to do that in Linux as well. Now there is some process running. Okay, you wanted to, right click and enter something like that. You wanted to hear a, okay, so stop a process, something. Right, you want to see the process first of all, right? So there's a task manager. Okay, you wanted to see the process. Then what is the command that you have is the process management command. In Red Hat OS, by the way, so every command that you execute is going to create one process. Every command you're executing is going to create some uh, process in the system. And this process is going to be allocated with a number by the system, which that is called as uh, PID, process ID. Okay, so it is called as a PID, process ID. And this particular process ID will be fetched by using a command called as a PS command. The list of process IDs is going to be fetched by using PS command. So the PS command will show you the process which is running on this particular terminal. Now let's say I open another session to this system. Okay, so one more, Linux is a multi-session, multi-user operating system. Okay, but whereas Windows is a multi-user, single session operating system. So that means single user, single session only will work. You can't actually have multiple sessions. But Linux is multi-user, at the same time, multiple session also. Single user can open multiple sessions. So I open just one more putty. You can open one more putty, enter the same server details. You will have one more window also, one more connection made to the server. Now, PS command is going to show you the process of this particular session only. Now here the PS is showing its process. So now here, if you see this, this is 1323 something is running, 1421, and here it is 1380 and 1421 is running, 1425 is running. Okay. So this is the PS command showing you the process of that particular session only. It's not actually dealing with other one. Now let's say I am both are on the same, both the sessions I'm the same user. I wanted to know all the process of the user. So then PS-U will show you all the process belongs to that user. Now it is showing me 1323 from here and 1380 from here also. Okay. Now rather than my user, okay, by the way, why don't I see the whole system process? Then that's where PS-E will come into picture. PS-E will show you all the process running in the system. Okay. PS-E will show you all the process. And the same like ls command -l, if you give more options you are getting. If here you want to get more fields, so then what is that you have is PS-E-F, or you can give complete also, like as a single word also you can give -ef, that will work. So PS-E-F, if I give, so it is trying to show you a bit more details about that particular process. And in this more details, a very important thing that you need to consider over here is who is the owner of that particular process and its process ID, and who is its parent, by the way. So every process in Linux is created by some other parent process. It's like a parent tree, you will see. And there are two parents, which is actually going to start at the time of operating system, the process number 1 and process number 2. Okay, process number 1 and process number 2. Now, process number 1 is the software processes, whereas the process number 2 is all the childs of process number 1 is the software processes, whereas the childs of 2 is actually the kernel or Linux processes, which is the system processes. You can't deal with these guys. Okay, so that means you can't manage this, like manage in the sense like start, stop, all those particular things. You can't deal with these guys. So that means you see this, all these processes are, who is the parent? 2, 2, 2, 2. So what all the process you have with the 2 is never your concern, and you don't deal with that. Okay, so Linux we already talked about. So Linux we already talked about how we how the operating system evolved, right? So if you look in, so this is the layer. Now all the process number one is this guy, software, and all the process number, okay, so two belongs to this layer. So you don't manage them. Okay, so that's where okay, you have this particular process. So ps-ef is a command that will help you with all the information, by the way. Now you take any processor, for an example, EC2 user, I would have started some process, by the way, so some software. So it is telling 1380, and who is the parent? 1379. And if you go to 1379, who is the parent? 1377. And if you go to the 1377, who is the parent? 1256. And if I go to 1256, the parent is 1. Okay, so this is how it is. So the next one, which you have is maybe out of all the output, by the way, you already know basically like, pipe symbol. You can just send the command output to other command so that you can, rather than just getting a big output, you can start filtering that by using the commands, which you know, by the way, right? Now, as an administrator, so we might need to manage this process of the system as well. Okay. And may not be really needed to manage the process of as no need to be an administrator to manage the process. I'm a user, I can end my process. Okay, and how can I end my process? Okay, so that is where it is going to be the next thing, which is going to be is, let's say if I'm running some process, I'll take a command to simulate the scenario, a sleep command. Sleep command just does nothing. It's just going to be, so just to wait for 300 seconds and then give you the prompt. It does nothing. Okay, so that's the reason. So you have um, so sleep 300. So now you can go here and the ps-ef grep for sleep, and you can see that this is okay. So this is ps-ef grep sleep. So you're getting one process ID. Now you start managing this particular process. So that means we wanted to, end this particular process. To end the process, you have something called as kill command. Okay, a command called as kill and the process ID. Okay, so that means kill, and I'll give this particular process ID. So you can see this sleep has been interrupted and it is giving a message that it has been terminated. Okay, so that's where we are going to, um, and that's how you're going to deal with the process. And sometimes some scenarios would evolve, by the way. Okay, let me just simulate the scenario. And okay, now I'll go for ps-ef pipe grep for sleep. Okay, so now there is one more sleep command is running. So just I'm trying to simulate that, by the way. So, but your area of interest is understanding the kill command only, not the down one. What is this and all doing? That's okay. So just trying to simulate the scenario. Now I'm giving kill 1471. Okay, it did not give any response that it killed, doesn't kill. Previously also did not give it. Our understanding is it got killed, right? It was showing terminated. Now here I killed it. Now go for ps-ef grep for sleep. So that 147 still exists. You kill it again. Okay, kill it again, kill it again. It's not getting killed, by the way. Okay, so this is a scenario. Okay, this is going to be a sometimes facing scenario that you try to kill a process and it may not actually respond to you. Okay, uh, because of couple of reasons, because it is super busy in doing something. It acknowledged that, okay, or it received some signal from you, but however it couldn't able to come out because it is trying to do the some work before coming out. especially the databases. You try to kill a database, then it has to save a lot of things that what it is actually, so supposed to be committing without the data loss. It just need to commit everything and come out. That may take some time. Okay. And in some cases, some process is hung completely. Okay. It'll not be able to respond to you at all. Okay. In those both the scenarios, you might not get the uh, response, by the way, with the kill command. So that is where we are going to get the next option on the kill command is by doing a force kill. And force kill, you're going to do that by using -9 option. Okay. So -9. Okay. So now what happened? So PS-EF grep for sleep, that is gone. And even I got a response here that it got killed also. Okay. So kill is a normal graceful signal you're sending to a process that, hey, can you please quit? Then the process acknowledges it and comes out. But whereas if you are actually trying to wanted to kill it without even informing to it, by the way, so you can also send a forceful option as well. So this is about how do you see the list of process and how do you how do you stop those particular process? Any questions?
Hello. Hi, Raghu. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Raghu. Quick question. In session 1, you killed the process, right? But
Yes.
in the session 2, it's got terminated. Like any of the session, if you kill it, all the sessions it will be killed out.
No, the process is running in this session, so that's where you're getting the information on this session. I can't run the process on the same session and kill it because I'm trying to simulate the scenario here. If I run the sleep here only, okay, where can I kill? You can't kill now.
Okay.
Sleep 10 I'm giving. I can't execute the kill command, right? My prompt is not coming. So just to simulate this, I opened one more terminal, which is still my user only. And that's where I'm using it and killing it. So that's anyhow, that is a process running on that session. It is giving the information on that session.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Hi, Raghu. So if we are creating a process and we are killing it, it's fine. But later we need to audit the processes and all. So is there any way we can get the details of killed processes for security reasons?
Till in the system, everything will get audited. So basically, like all the commands I'm executing is being tracked in the system. So if that is the auditing you're talking about, yes, that will be there already.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Hi, Raghu. Just before that, we have tried to kill one process, right? Which is not killed because you made a sleep of 300 seconds, right? Till that time, we cannot kill, is it?
No, not like that. You can kill. So sleep 300 means while I was running only, I killed it, right?
No, with the force, you have tried it. Am I understanding correct?
No. Normally also I can kill. Force is a simulation. So now I have sleep now. This is a normal thing only. If I can't give kill of that particular process, it's killed on.
Okay.
I was just trying to simulate the scenario rather than just telling theoretically. That's
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Raghu, we are using the same user ID. I mean, EC2-user at the rate of IP address and the password. And that same user ID and password is going to be used by other users, right? So how are we going to associate which process is created by which user? Multi-users
So
are
Assume you are easy to user. Your name is easy to user. You will use your username password only. Why other users use your username password? They won't, right? If assuming EC2
So
hyphen user is
for
you,
one instance, there is only one user, right?
no. I mean, I mean, basically, like, let's say, just assume EC2, your name is EC2 hyphen user, not Sai for some time.
Okay.
Okay. It is your username and password. So that means you will use your username password. The other user will use his username and password, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So then everything is clean only. There is no problem. Everyone logins into their systems with their username and password only. So here is a lab. I can't, okay, create multiple accounts for everyone. I just narrowed down to one user. And also I'm telling you, assume that is you, by the way, in the company.
Okay. Okay. Sir. So for lab purpose, we are using only one user.
Yeah. Generally in the company, so the systems are integrated with your Active Directory or single sign-on. I've been talking, right? So that means you will
Yeah.
log in with your username password only. So you can't use some other username password. You log in.
Okay. Okay. Sir. Got it.
Yeah, hi Raghu, for every person, this IP address will be different, right?
Your server, your IP.
Yeah,
If you are creating in your AWS account, yes.
yeah, okay.
Okay. All right. So the next one, so there are some additional things for you to think of. You can read about them. That's okay. So the next one is a pseudoverse thing. Okay. Now, what is this? Is basically is let's try to so do something by the way. Let's try a command that will fail because of the privileges. So that means I'm trying to kill all the time the process which belongs to me, by the way. I'll try to kill a process which doesn't belong to me. For an example, there is a user process maybe, or there is no harm in killing this process, which is owned by a root user, administrator. I try to kill the process. Then what is the permission you're getting? Operation not permitted. Okay. So what happened over here is operation not permitted. So that means you couldn't kill that particular process. Okay. So that means you're a normal user, okay, and you didn't able to kill the root administrator process. Okay. And that is the limitation, by the way. Okay. But generally in the companies, now let's say if I want to kill the root user password, I may be knowing a root password. In companies, even though we know the root password, we might not log in directly with the root user. Root user logins are generally disabled in the companies. Okay. And usually that root user is only used during the maintenances of the system sometimes. If the system is down or so some reasons, only certain times only the password will be retrieved and used. But you will not be able to log in. Generally, like you can also restrict that. Okay. So only from at the maintenance time, only root password can be allowed. And from remote, you can disable the root password. These are all the configurations which is available in the system. So generally speaking, any mature system, so they will not allow you to log in as a root user. Now, I am wanted to kill a root user process, but I'm not allowed to log in as a root user. Then there's a chicken egg problem here, kind of a thing, right? And that particular problem is going to be solved by certain tools, actually, by the way. Okay, so that means we always log into the system as a normal user. That means I will log in with my user only onto the system. But we need to perform the work as a root user. And how do you do that? And how do you gain the privilege as a root user? Is basically the privilege escalation tools. And there are certain privilege escalation tools like majorly known as sudo, which is a default in Linux. And if you go to some enterprise companies, you will also see something called as Power Broker, Centrify. Some paid tools is also there. Those also will come into picture. Okay, So some people, what they do is they will try to allow you. There are a couple of ways of dealing with the security here. Okay, some people, what they will do is they will purchase the privilege escalation tool and give you the privilege as a normal user. Okay, so and while you're executing, there is a track that what you're being executed and all. However, some companies, what they will do is they will give you the root login only, maybe. Okay, but they'll literally record the screen of what you're doing. Okay, so there are certain tools, by the way. So one is maybe you can say, I think Archon is one of the guy you can think of. So privilege identity and access management system. And what they will do is they'll give you a customized screen to connect to the server, and what are you're executing in that particular command, they'll literally record your screen, by the way. And you can always go and watch the recording of if anything is wrong. So you can always go back and watch the recording also. So there are multiple ways that people comes in, but out of this, a widely known one is privilege escalation, by the way. And there are other tools, paid tools as well. So here sudo itself is telling what are the alternatives. But yeah, so here we're going to use a sudo linux default one to deal with that. Now going with others, by the way, so what is advantage you get it is certain advantages they provide, like some easy maintenance kind of a thing, because sudo you have to work little extra effort, by the way. So always in the companies, we always look like engineering cost to product cost. Okay. If I have engineers, I'll invest in engineers, by the way. So to maintain the system with a basic softwares, or else I don't want to recruit engineers. I will purchase a software and I'll try to manage the problem. So these are the general two ways only we deal with in the companies, by the way. So about any problem. Okay, a solution can be managed by the developer and engineer, which is in the company itself, which is by persons you target the problem, or by software you target the problem. There's only two ways generally we do, right? So so that's where, like, so sudo may be requiring little more effort, by the way, considering the product is going to make with life easy, and maybe they always offer some plus features. Maybe they will offer some to become a root user. They may ask you, okay, enter OTP, right? So possibilities are there. So additional things are there. That certain things features will come into picture. But and fundamentally, if you look in, what they're doing is a privilege escalation. So that means you log in as a normal user and you become a root user. Okay. Now, generally in the organization, now you are logging into that system. The systems are pre-configured. Okay, that means you'll be part of some group, and your group will generally having let's say you belong to a DevOps group. DevOps group generally would be having some, let's say, admin privileges, and you're going to use that particular privilege. So now let's say EC2 user we're using, okay, he's a DevOps guy, and he can be able to deal with the things, and which is already there in the system. Okay, if you're really interested on okay, how to do that particular thing, I already gave the link how to add a user to a sudoverse. But for our context, by the way, it's a very simple thing only. But yeah, for our context, by the way, I am a DevOps engineer. I logged into the system and I already have privileges. I'll simply get on using those particular privileges. Okay. So that's where now the process I was using, I was not able to kill that particular process. Now I'm going to use my privilege, okay, that I have, which is by using sudo. So every command you just run with sudo before, okay, that command is going to get executed as a root user now. That means that process is killed. So ps-ef pygrapher 1255. I don't see that particular process. It's only from the grep, by the way. This is a grep command. That's okay, but actual process is gone. So ps-ef 1255 is gone. Only 1256 is there. So this is how in the companies, okay, you're going to have a privilege escalation tools. And again, your login is centralized. Your privilege is also centralized, by the way. These are all possible from the central. Okay, rather than giving individual access and all, it usually deals at the group level. AD groups and all will be there. So they will take care from there. That's how it is going to in the enterprise. And again, we have I have certain videos, by the way, about how your systems will be integrated to AD, and how your central user will be created, and how that central user automatically will be able to log in. How do we gain the privileges? Okay, so there's a video. I'll give you that offline video whenever you have some time. You can go through that. Okay, in the same portal, by the way, we'll add some offline video section also. We'll slowly add one by one. Whenever you have some time, you can go through that. But otherwise, this is how it is. So you are going to use sudo, and using sudo, you're going to use that privilege and do that. But let's say if you don't have privilege, sudo will simply say that, hey, you don't have access. Okay, that's how it is. Now, though you actually did something, so in the system everything is going to get tracked. Okay, for an example, so there's a file, I would say secure. Now this file is telling that I have executed a kill command. Not updated or something. Warlock secure. Okay. So the process which I killed is the one actually is an important process that actually deals with the information. Okay, that's the reason it is not able to, so still writing the logs. Okay. Don't worry about this. Okay. Now sudo's, let's say, sleep some number. Okay. And ps-ef pipe grep for sleep. There is one process. Okay. So I'm going to sudo kill that particular process. It's gone, right? So now that information should be there in the system in the form of log files. Sudo cat / log secure is the system, and grep for kill, by the way. So now you can see this. So it is clearly telling that you have killed the process. Okay. So it is telling, so previous process also kill 1255 came in now, and as well as now the latest process also has came out. Now it is telling this so-and-so user, it's not writing the name, this is showing the ID, by the way. That's okay, it's showing the ID has executed this command. Okay, so sudo kill, it's clearly writing in the system. So, and these logs actually goes and gives to these logs will all the server logs as a security prospect. These logs will ship to the some centralized place. There are certain tools like SIEM, SCIM or SIEM, SEIM, SIEM. Splunk is one of the leader in that. SIEM. Okay. So what it is actually going to, this Splunk tool is actually going to do is, he's the leader, by the way. If you see the Magic Quadrant of Gartner also, it is going to be the leader in that area generally. Okay. Now what these guys will do is will collect all the logs happening in the system, and it can Okay, trigger an alert, by the way, and even it can go and log the user also. All the actions are possible. If any unintended operation pattern is being encountered, then these systems are actually going to so do certain actions, by the way, like alerting or locking the user and all. So certain things will happen. Okay, so no worries on the security aspect, though you're dealing something wrong on the system, so everything will get tracked on behind the scene. Okay, now going back, so the point was the sudo is all about gaining the privileges, though you are actually doing the, so basically like the privileges will be given to you knowing that you are going to act responsibly, right? So that's where uh, hopefully you'll not do anything beyond what you're not supposed to generally. And so in order to do that, so we use sudo to take as a default one in the system. Clear? Any questions on this?
Now, Raghu, once after we kill the process, okay, how we can restart it?
Yeah, we'll go there.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Raghu, as a DevOps
Yeah.
engineer, we don't deal with the creation the users at user, right?
We're just in the same topic, user management, the next one. After this, you can ask the question.
Okay.
Raghu, so several process we are going to start, right? Before killing, can we set any alert, something like that, to reconfirm before we killing it? Like, are you sure you want to kill something? Though you are a root user.
That is never going to be a solution, by the way, right?
Yeah.
So if you have you any time deleting a file, asking you in Windows, asking yes or no, have you any time pressed no?
No.
Then there is no point. Okay, so the human things comes into picture, by the way. So technology can't solve them. Okay, so you have to act consciously.
Okay.
Okay.
Currently, we are giving a process ID, right, Raghu? Is it possible to get the name also?
You can't give, you can give a name, but there is a risk involved in the name, by the way, because let's say there are two sleep process running. Your intention is to kill one process. The moment you go with the name, okay, so both the process will get killed. So going with a name is not a good idea. So that's where we always go with the number. So go with the number only. Never go with the names.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. The next one, so which we have over here is user management section. Okay, so just now I clearly called out saying that, okay, users are centralized users. Okay, then why this user management section does come into existence, right? So now you need to understand your job, right? So your job is all about running the applications, right? So that means going back to the first diagram we started, right? Roles and responsibilities. It is coming, turning around, uh, to be around customer accessing the web application, and that web application is hosted somewhere in our servers, right? So that means we are running some sort of a web software there. Now these to run this to run these particular applications, okay, so these applications will be run, and this will be run as if, every process is going to be associated to a user, isn't it? So a user is going to come into picture to run a process. Okay, you already seen that every command is getting executed is going to create a process, and the process is associated to a certain user, by the way. Now these processes need to run as a normal user, but you shouldn't run it as a root user. You may think like, yes, root user is there, why don't we run that? Okay, but running the process as a root user is a risk involved. So what is the risk is if the process is compromised by any reason, because the web application is running as user and the web application is compromised because not following the standards and you gave the root user, that means you give the complete access to him. Okay, so literally you give the complete access to him. So just to avoid all these particular scenarios, so generally as a security standard practice, we're going to run the process as a normal user. Okay, to run our application, we're going to run it as a normal user, but we can't run it with our user again, right? I'm Raghu, I log into the system, I run my process. By the way, I run the process of the program or that particular project with my user, and I left the organization, my user is deleted. Now what happens to the process? Okay, it's also not the practice. You should not run with as a human user. I mean, a human user who is logging into the system. Neither you should log in as you should run it as a root user, right? Now, how do you deal with this particular problem is you are going to add a functional user. So generally in the organization, we're going to call this as a functional user. So this user is created for certain function. And in the OS language also, these users are all called as daemon users also. Okay, these users are called as daemon users. So now using these particular users, we are going to run the process. We just use this user to run the process. But these users will not have username and passwords to log in. Now, if the same username is having the username and password, everyone will log into with the same username and password. And someone already asked the question, like everyone is using the same username and password. How do you track the things? You can't track the things. So that's where, okay, we would be not going and running or setting any passwords for this user. Only the user will be created. That's it. No passwords will come into picture. And in order to add a user, it's very simple, by the way. It's going to be user add. Okay, so since I'm just trying to do that as a normal user, I can't do it, right? User add, let's say sample. I'll not be able to do that. I get permission denied, of course, and I should be doing that as a root user. So sudo user add sample. I just added a user to the system to run the process. And even these functional users in certain companies also goes to AD. Active central only it will be. Okay. And some companies, they'll try to maintain local. Okay. Just assume, just imagine. And we may be still using the Active Directory logins, but the functional users, by the way, is running inside are created inside our system, by the way. Okay. So that's how we got added this user. Now, whether this user information, if you want to find it out, there's a command which will help us, which is going to be is id space sample. Okay, so it is id space sample, which is giving the information of the user which is added. Now, while we add the user, it also added a group called as sample also. The user add command has created a group called as sample, and in that group, the user is added. That's still okay. Okay, the user add is behaving like that, and we're okay with that. So this is how we are going to add a user to the system. And using this user only, we are going to run the process. Now, how do you run the process using this user? Because you don't want to log in with this user. Okay, you can't log into that user. But however, we wanted to run this particular process as a root user. Okay, how do you do that? Maybe there's a service management, so that section you'll understand. But for now, and the user ad management section, so this is what you have. Also, like to bring so the judgment to my statements, by the way. So by running some softwares here, and this is again a simulation. Let's not bother about that. Okay. So after this process is done, you will see that it is going to be certain standard process: Apache web server, Apache Tomcat, the MySQL database. So these are all well-known and widely used softwares. Now these softwares, let's find out, okay, how they are running their process in the system. Okay, though you're running with something as a root user, but they will never use the root privileges. Okay, so they'll run it as a normal user. So you'll find it out. ps-ef pygraph http d. So you can see that it is all running with Apache user. ps-ef grepper Tomcat. Okay, so you can see the Tomcat is there. ps-ef grepper Maria, which is also a MySQL DB. So MariaDB, you can see this is a MySQL. It is running with a MySQL user. Like this, so we are going to have different softwares also if you install. So generally, like these are well-known softwares and comes with a very much standards. Okay, so they are running their processes with a different user, not the root user. That you need to understand. Okay. So how do we add a user is very simple, just by using user add command, and you'll be able to add the user. No password and all setting up with this particular user. Okay. So someone was asking, how do you set up a password? But yeah, so generally the password setup will not be doing it the local, by the way. It's going to be your central login password. And we don't do that. But anyhow, you can set a password, but not a standard, but still if you're interested. So it's a very simple command you can expect. Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah, yeah, Raghu. Just now you showed that HTTD, Tomcat, MariaDB. Whenever this will run with the Tomcat user, HDD user, Maria user. We logged in with our user ID only. Whenever we run these commands, it will run with this Tomcat or Maria, these users only, right? Automatically.
Yes.
Okay, that will whenever we check the logs means it will show the our user ID name or Tomcat name or Maria names like that.
Login is different. Running the process is different.
Okay.
You logged in with the your user, but
Okay.
you are actually trying to see the system information.
Okay.
What all the process? Yeah.
Whatever these commands, it will show the information only, right? Grep.
Yes.
Tomcat.
PS is showing you the process which are running. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So that comes to the next topic then, the package management. What is a what is the package management is about is installing, dealing with the softwares in the system. So package management is one of the key activity that you perform most of the time as a DevOps guy, because we need to install softwares and run some softwares, right? So that's where this is a very important aspect actually. And in Red Hat OS, okay, how do you install a software is their own native, like in Windows, you have MSI. Okay, so like Mac OS, they have DMG, and in Linux, Red Hat, they have something called as RPM. which is RPM package, by the way, like an extension of the software. And so this particular software is used to install certain things. Okay. Now, traditionally, like, so in Windows or Mac OS, those are desktops, by the way. You download the software and you run the software by double clicking it. So, but here it is a little different. So there is a straightforward manager comes into picture. So package manager itself comes into picture. Okay. So that means using with that, you're going to deal with it. A command line. Okay. The command that we have here is DNF. Okay. So sudo DNF. So just show me the list of installed packages. So the DNF list is going to show you the list of installed packages because you asked for a list of installed. Now, not only the list of installed, there are certain packages which are available to install for me. So you get me those also. So you give DNF list available. You will bombard at least with many lists, by the way. So DNF list available, spelling wrong. Available. So you're going to get a lot of packages which are available to install. These are available for you to install. Okay. So whereas if you want to get both available and installed together, either you can give DNF list all or you simply give DNF list, it is fine. And you'll be able to find certain package. For an example like this. Okay. So now you are getting the information like this. Then I'll go for some package which is installed. Yeah, now you can see this VIM when I search for, there are many lists coming in. Okay, now DNF list only I have done. And that means it will show both the installed packages on the system and those are available to install in the system. So that means both the things it will show. Then how do I differentiate whether it is installed or available to install? The third column will help you. The third column, if it is just coming with a simple word, by the way, so then it is available to install. But the same word is coming with @ symbol at the starting. You take RHL9 AppStream here, RHL9 AppStream here. Now here you are having @ symbol. The third column determines @ That means this package is installed already. These are not installed. Okay, so that's how you will find it out. Okay. Now to install a package, what you're going to do, DNF install the package name. So let's say as an example, I have is a package name. So DNF install Nginx is a software that I'm installing. Now it is actually trying to install not only that package may have some dependencies. It is installing those also, and it is running. Okay, so just install all the packages. Okay, now if you have observed, by the way, I have used a -y already. So then let's say I'll go for remove Nginx. I'll do enter. It is asking me in prompting in between yes or no. Okay, so it is prompting y, yes or no. I'm giving y and it is proceeding. And if you don't want to ask for yes or no, then you simply give -y option, whether install or remove, any of the case. If you simply give -y option, it won't ask you in between. Okay, now let's say if I don't give -y, it asks for yes or no. If I give no, enter, that won't do anything. But whereas I know that, I don't want to be prompted, so simply I can give -y. It will just install it. Okay. And if you have any package to update, by the way, so you simply give DNF update and the package name, it will do an update. And if you want to update the whole system, then DNF update. So it will just update the whole system, which is a very easy thing to deal with that. But if you have a question that, okay, where is these packages are? Okay, so how these are coming, by the way. So if you wondered how the DNF is managing the installation, you will see that downloading the package and installing it, where is it downloading from? Okay, And the command DNF will refer the repos which is available under etc.m.repos.d. So that means lsoft/etc.m.repos.d. So there are certain files, by the way, here. Now, if you see the content of that particular file, it tells the location where it is actually coming from. So if I go and give this, it is telling, so here is a URL it should download the packages from. Okay, so that's why when you try to install certain softwares, you will not find out them. So for an example, sudo dnf list grep for Jenkins. So Jenkins is one of the well-known software, let's say, right? So but dnf list is not showing the Jenkins package because the repo files, whichever we talked about over here, so does not have any information about Jenkins package. These are all just shipped with the OS, by the way. So OS packages only it is showing. Now there are a lot of third-party softwares. For an example, I go with MongoDB. Let's say if I say install MongoDB, so what they will do is they will just give their repo file. So if I'm trying to install in the Red Hat machine, so then what they will do is they will offer their repo file so that then you can start installing Mongo. You have to create this, that telling, hey, you keep this particular file under etcm.repos.d. Okay, you keep this content. So then, okay, we'll install. Then after that, you can go and install MongoDB. Okay. All right. So that is how you are going to deal with. Now, the same way, Jenkins doesn't have that. Okay. So that's the reason it's not coming. So let's say jenkins.io, if I go for, and you go for download. Oh, this is documentation. Sorry. Download. And if you go for Red Hat OS, so what they're offering is, okay, one repo file. So this is one repo file. So we can use curl command. So sudo curl -l-o/etcm.repos.d and the jenkins.repo file. It should end with .repo. And simply give the URL. So this is a curl command we just learned yesterday. So -o. So now I just downloaded that file. That means cat that file. You should see some content. Where is the URL it is coming from? Now sudo dnf list pipe grep for Jenkins. You will be able to see the Jenkins package coming. Okay, so now these repo files is the ones which is used by DNF command. Okay. All right. I think sometimes if you are not having, I mean, any repo file, some guys may offer directly the RPM. You simply go ahead and, so give this also. You simply give the DNF install and the URL of the package also is fine. The moment you try to do this, it is going to just download the package directly and make it available for you to install also. This is also fine. Maybe I'm going to press no when it is asking to install. Okay, so it is trying to install. So this is also is possible. So that means by default, there'll be some packages which is coming from the OS. Apart from that, some third-party softwares you need to install, and that third-party software may offer their own repo, by the way, and you have to get that repo, and from that URL it can download. You keep that in your system so that DNF can go into that location and download and install the packages on your system. And sometimes if some guy is not giving any repo file and that approach, directly giving an RPM, you can simply use that RPM full path. Okay, so that's all about the package management in the system. Now this package management, okay, so starting from RHEL 8, by the way, they introduced a command called as DNF. And before to that, there was a command called as from RHEL 5, RHEL 5, RHEL 6, RHEL 7, there was a command called as YUM. Okay. And RHEL 4, RHEL 3, RHEL 2, they had a command called as RPM. Okay. So there used to be a direct RPM command to install the RPMs. And that has a problem of solving the dependencies problem and all. And that's where they introduced a new command called as YUM. And YUM over a period of time, that also has some problem of it can deal with one software, one version. It can't deal with one software, multiple versions. And that's where they have introduced something called as DNF, now DNF. Anyhow, later in the project, we'll revisit the DNF command with one more option as well. Okay, DNF module. So the same, I mean, if you would like to choose which software you wanted to install, it was not supported by YUM, by the way. So DNF is now supporting. So that's the major reason the DNF comes into picture. But anyhow, it's not new in RHL 8. It is there from, sorry, it is not new in RHL 9. It is there from RHL 8. That means almost a 7-8 years it is already there. But yeah, so just some history, but otherwise the DNF is a command. Is that clear? Any questions?
So, Raghu, installing the new packages, or I meant to say that new software on the server. So we need to install the we need to enable the proxy server on the servers, right? Because usually in the organization we don't have the internet on the server.
Yes. So instead of actually going to the internet, the URL can be intranet also.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. And there is also a topic in the syllabus called as Artifactory. Okay.
JFrog. Okay.
Okay. So using that, actually, you should be able to do it. So I'll maybe explain that time. But yeah, so using this only, you should be able to do that. Yes. If you are not having internet, and yes, of course, enterprise organizations, they may not give you internet to each and every system, but still you need to install packages, right? You can't avoid that. So there is solution for that.
Okay. So for internet proxy enable, how we can do that?
There is, I mean, if you are going with a JFrog, by the way, there is no proxy comes into picture. You're not going to internet. You don't go to internet at all. Okay. You will go through Artifactory. You can consider JFrog as a proxy in that case, but you're not actually going to internet. You still go through intranet, but you go through a authorized source and go to the, that authorized source only will get the packages, by the way. Your system will not get the packages. So still you will download internally only.
Okay.
So the proxy concept is generally you're providing the information, so providing the internet to the system. However, you whitelist something. Okay, so that is again is not a so much secure way. Okay, Artifactory are basically like, um, I mean, the tools like Artifactory, what they do, caching softwares is the right approach. Yeah. Going back, any other questions?
But still we can use the yum command to install, right?
Yeah, that, if it is OS, it is that only, no other option.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you see the URLs here, so you're actually giving the public URL. Now you will point to internal URL. That's it. That's the only difference will come. So rest of the things are still same. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Actually, I wanted to cover that much only, but we have time now. Yeah, let's not hurry. Okay. So for some people, Linux is new, maybe. Okay, too many things at one day. Okay. So we can take a pause here. Any questions? Please go ahead. Otherwise, I'm good.
Raghu, can you go back? Actually, just now you downloaded the Jenkins, right?
Yes.
Above you given the command sudo curl -l etc. That m here in middle. Yeah. That sudo -curl that m repository, that folder we need to give, and then we need to give the I mean link, URL, right?
If you keep the files inside etcm.repos.d only, the dnf command will pick it up. So that's where we are saving the file in that location.
Okay. We that file we are saving in D location, right?
Yes.
Okay. M dot repository we are saving in D. Then we execute the command. That etc means that taking the right.
That's a path folder. In this folder only, if you
Okay.
keep the file, then only DNF will pick it up. If you keep in some
Okay.
other location, DNF will not look for that.
Okay. In etc folder we have to. Okay. Thank you.
It is etcm.repos.d, not etc.
Okay.
Any other questions? Cool. I hope everyone is using the lab sessions as well. If you have any problem. Yes, Kishore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, disabled is there, right? May you know the purpose of disabled there?
Where you're saying?
In like m.repos.d, there we have etc folder. I mean, like scroll little bit up. Yeah, here. ls command you did, right? /etc m.repos.d. Here we see that disabled repo also is there. What is the what it will do actually? Yeah.
So these are beta packages. He renamed the file not with okay. A DNF command will bother only about the files ending with .repo. Now he marked it as .disabled. Okay, Red Hat guy. So that means, by the way, you're not going to get the beta packages, which are not tested. Still, if you want it, you rename this file with remove.disabled and keep .repo, then you start getting the beta packages also. So that is the reason he renamed the file. And just by in the file name only, he's trying to convey that this is a disabled file in that way.
That means we can enable and disable whichever packages we need. We don't need means we can disable. That's what we can consider like holistically. If other
See, there are multiple ways, by the way. If you open the repo file, enabled is equal to 0 is there. That means that is nothing but disabled only. But this guy actually dealt it in a different way. If the file name itself is not .repo, DNF never bothers about that file. Rather than inside the file disabling it. Okay. So he never wanted to load this file at all. In that dimension, he targeted the problem. But however, in the repo also, you can configure enabled is equal to 0. So here you can see this repo is not enabled by the way. If it equal to 1 only, it will be enabled. So you can see here, maybe all these are here, only this only is enabled. These are all disabled, but this information is visible to you in the system, though it is not enabled. Okay, so he never wanted that. He targeted the problem in a different way. If it is not .repo, it won't consider.
Okay.
You're on mute.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? So I'm done with the work. I just terminated my mission. All right. So then we're good. Thanks everyone, and see you in tomorrow. And in tomorrow, we'll see a couple of more concepts of Linux. Mostly tomorrow is the end of the Linux thing. Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye. Good day.